Hey guys, back again with another review, and this time I'm reviewing Pulse, Boom, which is a remake of Pulse from 2001. This was made in 2006. It's a remake of Pulse from 2001 called Caro. I might be saying that wrong, but it's based on a Japanese movie. And to be honest with you, when I found that out, I was a bit disappointed because I went, "Oh no, this is going to be terrible." Like One Missed Call, and Dark Water, and uh, and The Grudge and all that stuff. But surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great film. So let's get on to the cast of the film. So, so it starred Kristen Bell, which I've got to be honest, she was smoking hot in this movie. There was a couple of times where I was like this. Oh, 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 you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. And Ellen Summerholder, Christina Milan, she was in Snow Globe, which is one of my favourite Christmas movies, and Snow Globe 2 is coming out before Christmas. She was also in Bring It On and one of the Bring It On ones. Not the first one, but one of the sequels. And she was also in Love Don't Cost a Thing. Kristen Bell was obviously in Veronica Mars, that's really not needed to be said. Rick Gonzalez, Jonathan Tucker, Sam Levine, Octavia Spencer, Ron Rifkin, who was in Alias, Joseph Gate, Zach Grenier, and so forth. But Rick Gonzalez, if I'm correct, he was in Old School. I'm sure he was. Let's find out quickly. Maybe not. Maybe not. He looked like he was. Yep, he was in Old School. He was Spanish. Yeah, I thought he was. He was terrible in that, and he's terrible in this. Anyway, so basically the movie starts out with a guy looking for somebody in the library. And that guy was Josh. Josh was looking for, it sounded like, in my view, from the video footage later on, but he was looking for Douglas Ziegler. And he hears a noise and he looks like between these library books and he goes, oh, and this weird thing jumps out at him and basically sucks his life force out of him and makes him kind of not want to live. It's hard to explain. Like, you see the energy coming out of their face, and I thought that basically this being took on their personality and then killed themselves. But anyway, get on with the movie because I've spoilt a bit of it there without going further in detail. So basically, I thought they took the thing, but what happens is they take the soul of the person or whatever it is, like like life force, what makes you tick. So instead of being like, yeah, woohoo, they're like this. Hello. Hello. Yeah. They don't care about life anymore. And basically, then after that, you meet Matty, who's Kristen Bell. You meet her and you meet Isabel. They're best friends. And you also meet Stone and Tim. They're at a club thing, like a bar thing. And they're leaving. And basically, Matty's relationship with Josh has kind of been on and off, and they're not really together anymore. But you can tell that Matty kind of still feels something for him. And you're like, ooh, Matty, go Matty. And it's funny having a girl called Matty. But anyway, maybe she had a sex change, but that's a different story for a different day. And so basically, she decides she's going to go around and see him because she hasn't heard from him. She's called him and all this. So she goes round there. And she goes in there and he comes out from behind this plastic. And you think, oh, he's going to kill her. He looks creepy. But no, he goes like this. Hello, Matty. Stay here, Matty. Stay here. She looks in the doorway, and there's this cat, like, alive, but rotting, like this. And you're like, bloody hell, that's the most scariest thing in the whole movie. A rotting cat, like, I don't know why I'm pretending to act like a rotting cat, because one thing, I'm not a cat. And two, cats don't go, but you get what I mean. So then she decides to look and see what Josh is doing. And he's hung himself by a cable, which looks like computer cable wire. hang himself. And she's like, oh no! And she ends up going to see the psychiatrist, Dr. Watson. Sorry, Dr. Waterson, sorry. And basically he says to her, you loved him, didn't you? You loved him. And she's like, no. And then she gets up and goes, oh, it's all my fault because if I had broken up with him, it would never have happened. What? And you're like, you're in for a real treat, Matty. You don't know what's coming for you yet. And when it comes for you, you're screwed. So she basically talks to her friend Christina and they're all like, oh, it's okay, Matty. Not Christina, sorry, Isabel. Christina Milan plays Isabel, sorry. So she spends time with Isabel and that, and they're all like, ah, no. And basically, they're online talking to each other, and all of a sudden, Josh starts typing, help me, help me, help me. And all four of them see it. Tim, Stone, Matty, and Isabel. And basically, they're like, his computer must still be on. Now, what I didn't understand about this is he was dead. He got hung, right? Now, why haven't the police gone in there? And why hasn't things been turned off? Why isn't the electric turned off? Why isn't the computer turned off and it's obviously on? You're like, this don't make sense. So, basically, she says, Maggie says she'd go round there, but she can't face it after seeing him dead. So, Stone says, I'll go round there. So he goes round there. The door's locked, so he climbs in through the window flap over at the top of it. Gets in there, wanders about, looks at the cable where he hung himself, because you know what? When a dead body has hung itself, is dead, and they take the thing off, they don't remove the wire, they just leave it in a hanging noose. Yeah. No cuts, nothing. Just a hanging noose where the head would have been, where it would have been stuck. Yeah. So you're sitting there going, strike number one. And Dexter looks over, and all of a sudden, not Dexter, Stone looks over. You can tell I'm tired. Stone looks over, and then this weird thing comes towards him, which happens to Josh, and he jumps, and there's this red stuff on the window, like tape. He pulls it off, and then he jumps over the side of the bed, looks under the bed, and I'm sitting there going, why is he looking under the bed? And he looks up, and this woman's over him going, and basically the life force pulls out of him as well. So Isabel, who I'm guessing kind of had a relationship with Stone, says, oh, she hasn't heard from him. He hasn't been at university or that. He hasn't been in his courses. So Matty calls him and goes, you're right. He goes, yeah, I'm all right, Matty. I'm all right. And she goes, did you turn off Josh's computer? And he goes, did you, Stone? All right. And he's like, I'm okay. And you're like, okay. So this is a bit weird. So she finds out that somebody bought Josh's computer. And that person's Dexter. She goes to meet him. And she basically threatens him and says, you know, what you're doing is illegal. And then she finds out the computer is off. He hasn't used it. So that same night, he decides to plug it in. And the first that comes up is, do you want to meet a ghost? And you're sitting there going, is this a ghost story? Or is it an alien story, you know? And then he puts it on, he clicks on it like every bloody else does because they're stupid. If I saw that, I'd turn it off. Especially if I knew what had happened to people, we would add the computer. Anyway, so he clicks on it, and you see a guy with a balaclava light on, and I've got to be honest, I thought he was masturbating, but he wasn't. He was apparently killing himself. But it looked like he was masturbating. Right? Another guy cutting his arm and so forth, so he turns it off because he gets freaked out by it. Then he calls Matty, and Matty comes over and sees it, and she gets really freaked out by it because not only does she see a thing in the background, but it's like, oh no, turn it off right now. Why did you make me see that? You know, and it kind of reminded me of The Ring. You know, I expected someone to come out and go, you know, long black hair and a white outfit. So they're like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So then Tim does it. Tim's computer says, do you want to meet a ghost? And he does it, and he kind of disappears in the background. Wasn't that great anyway of a character, but he was like, you know, like minimal character. A bit like Stone. And then Isabel is downstairs doing her laundry. Yeah, laundry. and all of a sudden her clothes start being thrown out the dryer. And you're like, what? And then out comes this big, big thing with a head like a human head with like 6 legs crawling on the floor. She goes, ah, and it sucks out her life force. And you're like, bloody hell. These things get uglier by the second. So later on, before all that, because I always do this, before that, Matty finds a package that she got in the post from Josh. And it's a bundle of 3 rolls of red tape. Now, a lot of people online said, what is the red tape for? So they didn't get it. But the red tape is to stop electricity transferring and to stop the creatures from being able to get near them, because it prevents like a barrier. How easy is that? But nobody understands that because they don't understand Japanese culture. If you watch more Japanese films and you study Japanese culture, you'll understand. So anyway, carrying on. So Matty goes and sees her, and she opens the cover, or the duvet, whatever you want to call it, and she's got half her face is like black with the black stuff which has been infecting them before they die, kind of thing. And she goes, and she goes, stay here, I'm going to call for some help. And then Isabel gets up and she goes, it's time. It just turns to ashes. And that was when I went, dust to dust. No, sorry, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Yeah. So then basically her and Dexter kind of thingy, and basically the world around them's falling apart. Everybody's getting taken because these creatures, these ghost creatures, are coming through computers, they're coming from telephones, they're coming from dryers, they're coming through anything electrical. So you're sitting there going, what would be the key right now? They come through electricity. They don't want them to work. They need to save the people. How about we turn the electric grid off? Nobody does that. Nobody turns the electric off. No, people don't turn their phones off. As a matter of fact, Matty keeps her mobile phone all the way to the end, or a cell phone, because it's called cell phone in America. In England, it's mobile phone. But she keeps it with her the whole time. You're like, they come through that. Why are you carrying it? Anyway, so her and Dexter end up running about trying to sort things out, and they basically decide they've got to find Douglas Ziegler. And Dexter has like this virus thing that he found at Josh's, like where you put in the computer and it sets everything, so it kind of puts in the virus so they can't get in. But he wants to have a computer full of viruses. So basically they end up going, we're going to stop this, and a car crashes into them, which turns out to be one of those monster things, which I didn't understand. Then they finally meet Douglas Ziegler. And Douglas Ziegler is a paranoid schizophrenic when it comes to all this stuff. His whole room is red. It kind of reminded me of Suspiria and Only God Forgives. I think it's Only God Forgives. And you have the colour scheme with all the bright colours, because it was a bright red colour, and it was actually quite nice to see on the Blu-ray. And I liked it because it showed that the red tape was used for the right reasons. So they kind of argue with him and they leave because they're like, we need to do something about this. They leave, and then all this creepy stuff goes down. What happens is they get chased by like 8 of these creature things that just turn up, and 2 little kid ones turn up in front of Dexter while Matty gets in the lift. So he goes, go Matty, go, and you're sitting there going, so is he dead? Because there's loads of them. She gets downstairs, and this big one comes up to her and goes, and this great scene happens. It's like this quick change in editing around them. I really liked it. It was really creepy. It was like it was going up, and it was like creepy, like you didn't know what was going to happen. And the one thing I really did love about this movie was the eerie music, the tones, the creepiness, really Japanese-like in that aspect. I really like that about this movie. So basically the monster thing, the ghost monster thing, is sucking the life force out of her. And Dexter turns up and goes, quick, come. And instead of the life force coming out, apparently goes back into her and she can run off. Now, that didn't happen before. The other pill got paralysed and just went, and as it was being taken out. So how could she turn around, so forth? So basically, as that's happening, she sees Josh, and Josh goes, "I'm sorry, Matty." And then all these hands grab hold of her and pull into like a field of arms, and it's so creepy. It's like every person's creepy thought. All these people touching you. You don't want to be touched by so many people. And all the hands are touching her and all this. And then Dex turns up and he pulls her out basically, from being sucked in. And they run off, get in a car, and well, in a truck, and they go on their merrily way, right? And then it shows you them asleep. Now, that will sound funny, but you've got a cell phone / mobile phone. You're gonna fall asleep. The radio's on. Are you stupid? The answer is yes. So they find the truck crashed, and they drive off in it. Now the thing is, they've got it doesn't say how much petrol's in it or gasoline, and basically they pull over. They're asleep, and they go, "Oh no!" And inside the radio comes on back, and the army have been sent in to help survivors with dead zones. And basically, then they wake up, and these ones they start getting attacked by these ghost things again. They drive off, and then they hit a dead zone because their mobile phone says no signal, and they're like, "Oh, they can't hurt us if they're if we're in the dead zone." She throws the phone out, and you're like, "Why didn't you do that earlier?" And basically, they drive off on their merrily way again, and it has this thing about how their world has fallen apart. And it sounded like the end sounded a lot like Terminator, the beginning of Terminator. You know when they go, "Our world got taken over by robots, and the world we used to know isn't ours anymore." It sounded like that. I felt like playing the Terminator theme tune on, while she was talking, because it sounded like that, but with the ghost things. And then the last thing you see is Josh in the window going, I guess that was supposed to be creepy. It didn't creep me out at all, that bit. The bit that did creep me out was the hands. And the dark corridors. It was so great, the dark corridors, because it had that really dark, creepy feeling. And it was only a PG-13 as well. I mean, it's the unrated cut, so I don't know if it was more creepy. Well, I'm guessing it must have been if it's unrated. But I'd like to have seen the PG-13 cut to just see what the differences are. But the movie, I really liked the movie. I thought the acting was fantastic in it. I loved the story. I have to admit, part of me wishes I'd known about the Japanese one so I could have watched that first. Because you should always watch the original creation first, in my view. But I really think the movie kept a lot of Japanese things in it. Because it felt like a Japanese movie with American actresses in it. With American, actors and actresses in it. It felt so good. I enjoyed it. I mean, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street remake earlier, and that was absolutely dreadful. And I was like, I feel tired. I hate this movie. Should I review any more tonight? Put that in, wide awake now. And I'm thinking, yes, I want to watch something else. Because that movie was bloody fantastic. That's what it was like. The hands all over like that. And I admit my hands would have been all over Kristen Bell. Oh. But I did like it. I liked the movie a lot. The acting was great. The music score in it was awesome. Fantastic. I loved it. The writing, the screenplay, the direction was all good. I liked it. I thought it was a great film. I can't really point it down. I did make fun of certain bits, obviously, because like every film, there are negatives. You could make negatives of The Godfather and Shawshank Redemption if you wanted to. They're not perfect. They're fantastic films, but they're not perfect. If there was a perfect film, it'd be a 10, wouldn't it? But yeah, it was a good horror film. And I wasn't expecting it to be, especially when I found it was like ghosts coming through the telephones and the computers and stuff. I expected that when I found it was about that, I was like, this is going to be bad. But it worked out good because they kept to the Japanese theme of the movie. And the Japanese do movies like this the best because of their culture, because they believe in that stuff. And it comes out in their movies. And I think Pulse kept that feeling I'm guessing from the original. Because There's so much depth to it and so much action, and you honestly don't know when the creatures are going to come. You can't just go, oh yeah, the creature's going to come out right now, because you didn't know. You did get you got the feelings of it, and there was some predictability, like when Stone went into his mate's flat. You knew he was going to get it, and you knew that something like that was going to happen because it was obvious because he was on his own. But I never expected Isabel to get attacked from the dryer. And when they had the dark scenes where Matty gets out of the lift, where she gets to the lift and it's all dark, and she walks down the corridor. That was so creepy because you don't know what's going to be in the darkness. So I really enjoyed that. And I have to admit, there's a Pulse 2 and 3, but they're only on DVD. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to order them as soon as I finish this video, and I'm going to review them when they get here, because if they're as good as number 1, woohoo! But I've got a feeling they're not going to be, because one, Kristen Bell's not in them, from what I heard, and two, it starts from where this one left off. So, but you know, I'm still going to get them and watch them because I'm looking forward to watching them now, and I need to get the original. I need to get the Japanese one to watch. So overall, I highly recommend Pulse. I think it's a good kind of ghost, kind of creepy monster film. And I think it's just got a great cast in it. I mean, Christina Milian, I've never highly thought much of her acting skills, but she was pretty good in this. Ian Somerhalder, who played Dexter, he was great. Josh, the guy who played Josh, was great. Jonathan Tucker. Kristen Bell, well, we all know Kristen Bell is awesome. I liked her in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Veronica Mars, and so forth. And Ron Rifkin was the psychiatrist, and I enjoyed seeing him again. I ain't seen him since Alias, so it was nice seeing him again. What else? What else can I say? What else was I going to say? It can be quite. I guess it's pretty scary for teenagers and kids, and maybe for the odd adult who's like, you know, scared of ghosts. It didn't scare me, but there were creepy moments in it for me, where if I'd have been in that situation, I'd be like, so you know what I mean? So yeah, overall, I highly recommend Pulse. I say definitely give it a go. If you don't want to watch the Japanese one, that's your choice. I wish I'd have known, because I would have liked to watch that first, obviously, because I like watching the originals first. But so be it, you know. I would recommend this to people who like ghost stories and anyone who wants to see a pulse. Anyway, so yeah, I give this a 4.5 out of 5 because I really enjoyed it. It was a great film. It kept me on the edge of my seat at times, and it made me want to watch more. And I highly recommend it. I've said that multiple times now. Anyway, so yeah, that's Pulse, guys. Check it out. Make sure to watch it. It's a good film. And let me know what you think, as always, in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of Pulse. And please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching, guys. And take care. And have a lovely day.